Hi guys, it's Angie and I'm back again with another video today. Hey guys, my video today is directed at young men and young hubbies. Young men and young hubbies. So I would say young men probably from 15 to their mid-30s, late 30s. I would like to talk to you today and offer you some advice from a 53-year-old mom. In case some of you are wondering, well, how old is she? Telling us advice. Well, I'll be 53 this year. I have 4 grown children. I have a 29-year-old. I have a 27-year-old. I have a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. So I think I've gone through enough to offer some advice. The older 2 are girls, younger 2 are boys. Well, young men and young women now. So I think I can offer you guys some sound advice, especially to our young men, because there's not a lot of resources that speak to young men in a positive direction. A lot of things are pretty negative. I know that you young men just experience negativity for the most part, pretty much everywhere you go, everything you see, throughout your lives, and you've seen it in other people's lives. And I won't go into all of those things. You already know. I would rather take this time to talk about something positive about you and what we could do to kind of try to work on our situations. And young men, I want you to know that you are a very important piece of the puzzle. You are very much valued, whether you hear it or not. And this may just go right over your head and you may say, because sometimes when something's new and you don't really hear it, it just kind of takes you by surprise. It doesn't sink in. You just have to hear it and hear it and hear it. That's how you grow. That's how you believe in yourself, by constantly hearing things, whether it be good or bad. So if a person is constantly hearing good things about themselves, it's very easy for them to walk with their head up, shoulders back, and expect the best out of life even when things aren't going well. They have a hope, a sense that, you know what, somebody's going to help me, somebody's going to look out for me, something is going to go right eventually in my life. But on the other hand, if all you've heard and seen is negative stereotypes, jail, prison, just anything that's negative you've seen, people have said words to you that are negative, that pulled you down, your mental ability to think positively goes way down. And you may not walk with such a bounce to your step. Your head may not be held high and shoulders back, but it can be. And the only thing you have to do as a young man is begin to put positive things into your life and into your mind. And if they weren't put there by the people who should have put them there, don't use that as an excuse, young man, because your life is still your life. And you need to make it work for you, regardless to what mom didn't do, dad, grandma, regardless. You need to make this work for you. I met a young man one day when I was at work. He came where I was working at. I work in public. And he just kind of came around me. He sat there for a while and didn't say much. And then after a few minutes, he started telling me in an angry kind of way, my mom didn't treat me right. They took my money. Nobody was there for me when I was growing up. I was by myself a lot. He just began to tell me these things and the more he began to say it, the angrier he began to be. And so I turned around and I just began to listen to him for a while. And then after a few minutes of listening to him kind of vent his anger against his mom mostly, I looked at the young man and I said, "Young man, how old are you?" I think he said he was around 27. That's pretty young. And I said, "Do you live with your mom?" He said, "No." I said, "Now the responsibility of your life is on you." I said, "You're no longer 10, 9, where you have to live with a parent that feed you and clothe you and pay your bills." I said, "You are, by all practical purposes, walking in the essence of a man." And I told him, I said, "You are going to have to put that behind you." It's not that I'm not being sympathetic or empathetic toward you. I am. I'm very sorry for what has happened to you, how somebody has mistreated you, misused you, abused you. That's awful. That's an awful thing to happen to anybody, whether it's sexual, mental, emotional, physical. It's a terrible thing. Make no mistake about that. That's terrible. And I am not at all making light of it or condoning it or in any kind of way. That's not acceptable. But now, on the other hand, you are left with a life to deal with. As broken as it may be, as hurtful as it may be, as unfair as it may be, young man, you're left with a life to deal with. Now, what are you going to do with this? With the shambles of what's left, you can build again. You can begin again. And you may say, "Well, Miss Angie, what do you mean I can begin again?" Well, I told this young man that he's going to have to get a plan for his life and his life only right now. Young man, if your life is broken and is hurting, don't pull another person into your life. If you haven't, don't run out and get a wife. Don't run out and get a girlfriend. Don't run out and get a fiance. That is not going to heal the pain of your heart. You're just going to pull that person into a painful situation, and you both are going to be hurting. You both are going to be in pain because you're not going to be able to relate to that person in a wholehearted, I'm trying to say, healed way, because you're still so broken and you need to be healed. And you can be healed if you will take the time and do the work on yourself, as far as, let me take a break, get my thoughts together. What is it that I need to do? Do I need to get me a place to stay? Do I need to get a job, keep a job, so that you can keep a place to stay, so that you can keep a car, so that you can keep your bills paid, so that you can take care of yourself? But young man, if you won't work, you're not going to have a place to stay that's peaceful, without drugs, without a whole bunch of drama, that you can just go in and lay down and sleep and have a peaceful night and a day. You're not going to be able to get a vehicle if that's what you desire. So there are some things that you need to do. There are some things that you need to do to take care of yourself to start out. And one is, if you don't have a means of employment, you need to be able to take care of yourself. Two is, don't bring anybody else into that relationship with you until you are healed. until you can find maybe a counselor. Many churches will do counseling for free. Many, especially the mega churches, you can call a church you may ride by and think of, and just say, do you have counseling? Any free counseling? Do you have any free resources? Like, could you give me clothes, or could you give me food for a while, or could you maybe suggest a place that I could stay that's safe, that's where you're not on the street, where you could take a shower, where you can take care of your hygienes, and you can go and look for a job, and you can be presentable. But this young man, back to the story, he was on the streets. He was living on the streets. And, I could tell that his clothes hadn't been washed, and you got to get out of that situation. If you're in that situation, you've got to get out of that. You've got to break that cycle. And I want you to say that out of your mouth. This cycle is broken. Whether it came from my dad, my granddad, my stepdad, whoever, say it out of your mouth. You are the only one that can break that. And don't pass it on to another male in your family. You may need to find some men to talk to. Plenty of churches have men's groups, small groups that meet. They have men group that meet only men. And you can sit there and you can talk to these men, and you can tell them the pain that's been in your heart, and they can offer you some advice from a man's perspective. And many of them probably have been where you are. There's hope. Well, the young man talked for a while. I talked to him. I tried to offer him some counsel. I didn't have a lot of time, because on that job I have to constantly move from place to place, so I couldn't stay and really counsel him. But I offered him as much as I could. He got off and out of the place where we were, and then he left. But it never really left. My heart really broke for that young man, and he asked for prayer, and I told him that I would be praying for him. Young men, I know that in this particular country, in this particular culture, there's been a lot that has come against you. No one talks about your fears. No one talks about the things that bother you, anxieties, cares, maybe panic attacks, different things that come across your mind that try to come against your thoughts, and maybe even torment your mind as far as what to do in life. And I don't mean in a bad, losing it mental way. I don't mean it like that. I mean something that constantly rolls over and over in your mind, and you can't find a solution to it, is what I mean to say. But my heart goes out to our young men. You haven't been given a fair plate. And many people know that. And a lot of people just assume that, okay, we all know it, so there's nothing to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. We need everybody talking about it. We should have group meetings on every corner for our young men in this country. We should have billboards up, positive things about our young men, because you guys have had to endure a lot, and it hadn't just started with you. It came down from your fathers, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers, your forefathers. Have all dealt with a lot of things. that a man should not have to deal with. We think a man, just being a man, should be able to handle everything. That's not true. You are a man, but you are a human being. You're human. We focus so much on the black. We focus so much on the white, the Asian, the Indian, the Hispanic. We focus so much on the outward. But we don't look at this person is a human. A human. Not a superhuman being that can die and come back to life. Die and come back to life. When you kill someone, they aren't coming back. Unless God supernaturally, for some reason, wants to bring them back. And that's in rare cases. He can do it. But does he do that for everyone that's died? No. So psychologically, we have to be able to help young men get a grip on things that come against them. They want the best for their lives. They want the best wives, the best homes, the best neighborhoods, the best cars. They want like every other young man wants and deserves to have like every other young man. It's not fair to sacrifice one young man for the purpose of another. So I understand, and a lot of people understand why you have made some decisions that you've made to cope with pain, to cope with anger, to cope with unfairness, to cope with being ignored and unseen, to cope with not being treated humanely. And I just want to say to our young men that there are many people of all races who care about you. You may not can meet millions of people, but I want you to believe it. Just believe it. Believe it. That there are people who care about you, that get up thinking good things about you. I want you to believe that because it's true. Only you can change this around. You've got to make a decision. Even God won't make you. He's not going to make you do anything. What do you want to do, young man? It starts with your decision. And when you decide, even God will get in your corner. Now you really got some help. I wanted to offer counsel to our young men today, because there's a lot of things that are unseen. People tell you to be a man, but how can you be a man? You got other people who have dads, granddads, uncles. They have all these people around them showing them how to be a man. But people tell you to be a man and expect you to just know it all. You have to know how to take care of yourself. You got to know how to supply every need. You got to know how to take care of your wife or your girl. You got to take care of children. You got to deal with the culture. You got to deal with people who hate you, people who would run over you with their cars if they could. I mean, you have to deal with these things, and people are saying, be a man. But who's standing with you to help you be this man? I just want to applaud you, young man. I want to applaud you today for standing, for trying, for breathing, for doing your best. Now, your relationships, you young men are going to have to slow down. I know there's a lot of young women out here who bought into the culture that there's a shortage. And so anytime people put out that there's a shortage on something, what do people do? They go crazy. If you say there's a shortage on water today, people are going to pile into the stores and just buy every bit of water that they can see. Anything. They'll go into the break rooms and start filling up containers at Walmart. If you say there's going to be a shortage on water, anytime people say stuff like that, it causes panic. And it causes bad things to happen. And so, because people have said there's a shortage, which they've said for I don't know how many years, people have been saying there's a shortage on men. And then in other cultures, they'll say there's a shortage on women. Yeah, and there are some cultures, they'll say there's a shortage on women. And, I mean, when people say that, then people get desperate. So you have a lot of desperate young women, possibly. I don't mean in a bad way, but when they bought into the mindset of the culture, they'll start believing that. So you have all these women pulling after you to be with you for good reasons or bad reasons, or you see the plethora of women. And so you invite all these women into your life, but that's not helping your life. You only need one great woman. You don't need 10 women. One guy told me he dated 17 women at one time. 17. That's probably not a lot, but that's what he told me. He said, I've dated 17 women at one time. How that's possible, I have no idea. And I never want to know. But young man, you were not created to have all these different women in and out of your life. All this different drama. All these different children. Paying all this money to this, that, and the other in child support. How are you going to have money to live on? How can you live? And how can you be a father and help these children not to go through what you're going through if you're having babies by all these different women? You know it's going to be conflict and drama. So if you haven't got there, don't get there. If you've gotten there, work on it. Try to make it better. Try to change some things. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm not going over my time. But like I said, you only need one great woman in your life. Once you're healed enough to treat her with respect and honor and dignity, and to treat her as a human being, and not take out on her your frustrations and this society's hatred. If you're a young man and you're alone right now, maybe this is a good time for you to be alone. Think about what it is you need to do in the next 2 years. Where do you need to be? Are you going to do a trade? Are you college kind of person? You want to open your own business? Do you want to, work under somebody, apprenticeship? What do you want to do? Because hanging out and just partying and drinking and getting addicted to all these things, it is not going to help your life for your future. You're going to burn up your body. Yeah, men burn up their bodies too. Men don't think that they do. You literally can burn your body out. Woman after woman after woman after woman. Possibly diseases. How can you be healthy and you don't even get sleep at night? How can you be healthy and you're not even eating anywhere near right? How can you be healthy? You're not drinking any water, just alcohol. No healthy things go in your body. You're not taking care of yourself. So how are you going to all of a sudden marry someone, be this great dad, this great husband, this great employee, and you haven't practiced this not 1 month in your life? You haven't kept a job for more than 2 months. You smoke up the little money you get. You smoke it up. And you're telling me that you're going to get a wife and you're going to treat her great. And you're going to have children and you're going to treat them great with all the stresses that come with that by itself. That's not likely. This is the time, excuse me, this is the time for you to be working on yourself, young man. And stop playing. You're not forever a boy, forever a child. You have to grow up and be mature and think about mature things. I know this society tells you to play video games all day. Don't take anything too seriously. But that is hurt to your life. You need to take life seriously because life is serious. I'm not saying that you can't have any fun. You can have fun. You can put fun in your life. You can do fun things. Whatever you enjoy. But I'm saying also your life is not all an amusement park. You have got to get down to the grit and the grind of life and make things happen and change things around, change your mindset, read some books, go to the library, get some tapes, get around some men who are walking it out, and stop acting like a 5-year-old, a 17-year-old. You're not in 9th grade anymore. I want to talk to you young men because this is something that's coming from a mother's heart. I want you to think about your future, the next 2 years. Write some things down. Work on some things every week. Find a man that you can at least call and talk to. Go to one of these churches. They will give you a mentor. Many churches out here will give you a mentor. There are elders in these churches. A lot of these men have programs. They will pray for you. A lot of them have been where you are and have had their lives changed or turned around. You need to see it walked out. You need to see a man that knows how to love his wife. You need to see a man who knows how to love his children, who knows how to talk to people without getting angry and punching them. You need that. So I want to push you today, young man, to get out of your comfort zone. because your life does matter. I know people flippantly say that and it's a slogan, but it's really true. All lives do matter, and guess what? Yours matters also, no less than anybody else's. But what are you gonna do? Nobody can make you do anything. So what are you gonna do? I want to encourage you today, young man, because you are an amazing person. So much good in our young men have not been seen. It hasn't been brought up on TV. The amazingness of our men and what they've had to endure and go through. And all men should have the ability to just be men and not have to think about their lives and fear. So I hope I've said something today that has helped your heart, that's helped you in some way, that's encouraged your heart or me. And I just want to offer today, if you have any questions or comment, you can leave a question or comment at angiemelissa21@gmail.com. That's AngieMelissa21@gmail.com. And I want you to know, young man, that there are people that care about you. But sometimes you've got to get out and knock. You've got to knock on some doors. If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, frustration, I take authority over that right now and I command it to leave. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, whose name is above every name. And I want you to take a step and get out and do something. Get out and find some help. Get out and change your life, young man. So I hope this has helped you somehow. I will make more videos. And I want you guys to have a great day. And let me know if you found a counselor. Let me know if you found a mentor. Let me know if you went to church and you got with some of those great elders that love God and are willing to stand with you and just love on you and push you to the next level. Let me know how it worked out for you, okay? I want to hear your great report. Well, this is Miss Angie, and I'll talk to you in the next video about how wonderful you are as a young man. Bye.